Hey designers! In this tutorial, we're going to create an exciting newspaper animation in After Effects. Let's get started by creating a new composition. Once that's done, import the necessary files. These are the assets I'll be using for this animation. First, bring in the background, the main image, and the flag. If the background is slightly smaller than the canvas, simply press Ctrl plus Alt plus F to fit it perfectly to the composition. Next, adjust the position of the main subject to center it nicely. For the flag, let's scale it up a bit for better visibility. Rotate it slightly to give it some dynamic movement and adjust its position as needed. Play around with these elements until you're happy with how they look. Once you've adjusted the position of the flag and the subject, let's add some text to bring this composition to life. Select the text tool and type your desired text. Adjust the paragraph spacing to align it perfectly. Rotate the text slightly to match the flow of the design. Now, let's fill the text with an eye-catching red color and add a white stroke to make it pop. Feel free to make any additional adjustments to the text to suit your design. Now that everything is in place, let's begin animating. Start by animating the subject's position. Move the timeline indicator to the 10th frame, select the subject, and press P for position. Click the stopwatch next to position to create your first keyframe. Then, move the indicator back to the first frame and shift the subject all the way to the right side of the screen. Next, select both keyframes and press F9 to apply Easy Ease. Open the graph editor and adjust the graph to create a smooth animation flow. Let's add opacity animation to the flag. Select the flag, press T for opacity, and click the stopwatch to set a keyframe at the frame. Now, add a blank keyframe and move back to the first frame, setting the opacity to 0. Adjust the keyframe positions to smoothen the fade-in effect. At this point, it's time to animate the text. Go to Effects and Presets and search for the Fade Up Lines effect. Apply it to the text layer. Press U to reveal the text animation keyframes and adjust the second keyframe closer to the first one for a faster animation. Once all the animations are complete, let's preview them to see how everything flows together. At this point, we need to add an indicator to signal that the animations have ended and everything is fully visible. Let's make the flag move slightly for some added motion. Select the flag layer, go to Effects and Presets, and search for Wave Warp. Apply the Wave Warp effect to the flag PNG. Set the wave height to 1 and increase the wave width. Under pinning, change it from none to left edge, ensuring that the flagpole remains stationary while the rest of the flag waves. If the flag movement feels too slow, increase the wave height to 2. That looks perfect. Now, select all the keyframes for the flag animation and pre-compose them. Next, let's bring in the newspaper JPEG. Go to the Project panel, import the newspaper file, and drag it onto the timeline. Some adjustments will be necessary here. First, make sure the newspaper layer is selected. Take the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle over the area you want to mask. To hide this selected area, click on the inverted option in the mask settings. Deselect all layers and use the rectangle tool again to create a new rectangle over the headline section. Set the rectangle's color to match the newspaper's background, which is white, to cover the existing headline seamlessly. With the headline covered, select the text tool and type a new headline relevant to your animation. Adjust its position and paragraph spacing as needed, and change the text color to black for a clean, professional look. First, pre-compose the newspaper layer, the text we just added, and the rectangle mask. Select all these layers, right-click, and choose Pre-compose to group them into a single composition. Next, take the previous pre-composed layer and parent it to the new pre-composed layer. This will ensure all the animations are synced with the new composition. Select the newly pre-composed layer, press S for scale, and click the stopwatch next to scale to create a keyframe. Move the timeline indicator forward by a few frames and add another keyframe. Select Precomp 1, press S for scale, and scale it down until it fits perfectly within the newspaper frame. Adjust the position if needed to ensure it aligns seamlessly. Next, select Precomp 2, press Shift+P to reveal the position controls, and click the stopwatch next to position to create a keyframe. Move the timeline indicator to the second frame and add another keyframe. Return to the first frame, and this time scale it up until only Precomp 1 is visible on the screen. Adjust the scale and position to ensure Precomp 1 fits the document perfectly. Once done, preview the animation. If needed, select both position keyframes and move them slightly to the right, allowing the animation to pause briefly before transitioning into the newspaper. To smooth the animation, press F9 to apply easy ease to the keyframes. Open the graph editor and adjust the graph to create a more natural motion. Now, let's enhance the look with an adjustment layer. Right-click on the timeline, select New, Adjustment Layer, and apply it above the other layers. With the adjustment layer selected, go to Effects and Presets and search for Lumetri Color. Apply it to the adjustment layer and go to the basic correction settings. Increase the contrast, highlights, and saturation to make the visuals pop. Click the stopwatch next to these parameters to set keyframes. Move the timeline indicator to the point where the newspaper fully appears on the screen. At this point, set the contrast and highlights back to 0, and reduce the saturation to give it a subtle, newspaper-like appearance. Let's refine the animation timing. Select all the keyframes and press F9 to apply easy ease. To adjust the timing further, hold Alt on the keyboard and drag the second keyframe slightly to the right. This will slow down the animation for a smoother effect. Next, let's enhance the adjustment layer. Go to Effects and Presets and search for Bezier Warp. Apply it to the adjustment layer and enable all the stopwatch options visible under the Bezier Warp settings, except for quality. Move the timeline indicator forward a few frames and distort the edges by adjusting the controls in the Bezier Warp panel. Preview the animation to ensure the distortion effect works well. To add a cinematic touch, apply the CC Vignette effect to the adjustment layer. Adjust the vignette amount to subtly darken the edges and focus attention on the center of the animation. To enhance the overall atmosphere, let's import the two particle graphic videos. Drag and drop them onto the timeline. Change their blending modes to screen instead of overlay, as overlay may make the scene too dark. Let's preview the animation. If you notice, the flag continues to flow even when everything else becomes stationary inside the newspaper. We want the flag to stop flowing at the right moment. First, determine the point where everything becomes stationary. It looks like this happens around the 3-second mark. To fix this, double-click on Precomp 1 to open it. Select the flag PNG layer and move the timeline indicator to the 3-second mark. With the flag PNG layer selected, go to Effects and click on the stopwatch next to wave height to create a keyframe. Then move the timeline indicator 1 frame forward, shortcut, Ctrl plus right arrow key, and set the wave height to 0. Now go back to the main composition to preview the animation. You might notice the flag becomes stationary too suddenly. To fix this, return to Precomp 1, press U to reveal the keyframes for the flag layer, and create spacing between the two keyframes. This adjustment will ensure the flag smoothly transitions to a stationary position. Return to the main composition and preview the animation again. Everything should now look perfect. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Ace Designs for more creative content like this.